Good evening and welcome to the Trading the Tech Show. My name is Derek Banks and this is iLi Academy. Tonight is Sunday, November 22nd. So we're coming into just about the last week of the month here. It's actually Thanksgiving week. So it's going to be a holiday week for the US. Um, so it's always a good time. It's always a time for family, a time for some reflection, just thinking on the year that's passed. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of reflection this particular year. Um, so much has happened. It just seems like we've packed so much into just one small 365-day period of time. So it's going to be a lot of reflection going on, and just kind of talking about the way forward. So hopefully you guys have some great things that you can talk about, some good things. It's not all bad, of course. So hopefully you have some good things to talk about, and then have some good plans um, going forward into next year. Just kind of setting yourself up for, what's going to be next. Now, the we've had quite a good time here as far as trading goes. So I think next year will be even more exciting for us. There's so many good things on the docket, that I have planned going forward, that I think can be accomplished next year. So I'm really excited about it too. So it's kind of interesting, the way this year has developed. Not really how I planned or how I thought that it would occur, but I'm really happy that things occurred the way that they did. So, it's not been a bad thing at all. So let's get started, thinking about next year, like what we're going to be accomplishing, what it is that we want to do, and, start setting those wheels in motion, because if we're working on it, then it's good. If we've got something that we're working on, then we can achieve anything that we really desire to do. So one of the things I want to start next year maybe is our wellness channel. I had a wellness channel before, a wellness website and all that. So I think I'm just going to kind of revamp that and add that piece in too, because I think mental and physical wellness is part of our trading journey as well. It's just like anything else. It's not, trading is not different than any other, occupation that you go for, or that you're pursuing. And if you want to be excellent at it, you have to have your mind, body, and your spirit all going in the same direction to kind of get there. So I think that's something that we will do. I already talked to someone who is living here, actually in Rio, and plans to be here. I talked to him about that too. That's kind of his deal, something that he really likes. So I think that, maybe I'll put that into his hands, to kind of pilot that a little bit. And maybe that would, maybe it'd be a good opportunity for individuals to see, what it is that, can help them. And, he's very into a lot of things that, especially the physical end of it. He understands a lot of the physical things that we put into our bodies, things like that. So I look forward to learning from him, on how to be a little bit healthier, and, how to set up our lives for success. So this is the Trading the Tech Show. So what we're going to do tonight is go over our charts, take a look at what's already kind of developing today, and then see what opportunities may be developing for this week's trading. Like we always say, Sunday night it's a little more tame trading, because we're not, we're not in the thick of things. We don't have a lot of volume on Sunday night. Typically, it's going to be Australia, New Zealand, Japan type areas. Japan actually is on holiday, I believe, today too. So we may be missing that in the market today, but doesn't mean there won't be movement or there won't be setups. We'll just kind of look and see what we've got. We'll just kind of trade with what we have at this point. So I'm going to start here on the Aussie CAD. We're just going to go top to bottom and look at our charts. It should take us probably about 20 minutes or so, 20, 25 minutes maybe, to get through our charts and do all of our analysis. All right. It's typically about a minute of a chart, so it doesn't take very long. So we'll take a look. Here on this Aussie CAD, what do we see? We see down here at the bottom of our screen, we see our 720 peeking out under the from the bottom of our charts here. It's a lot of separation between that and our 200 here. So when you got that much distance, it's telling us, you know, that the 200 being here on the upside, all the other moving averages here on the upside, that we are buyers, right? We're bearish. The market is bearish. So I'm bearish, bullish. I'm sorry. So the market is bullish. So what we're looking at is buying into the market, buying into any of the dips and the pullbacks. So we got a huge dip here, well below our 200, but it never quite hit our 720, and then it kind of bounced off the other way. Now, what I want to show you here, this is kind of like our breakout bounce scenario. We did get a tiny bit below this low. The second one, we dropped down here to a low, bounced, rolled around here. It came back down to test, but we didn't break it. You know, we didn't break it and continue lower. So that told us that our trade should go off to the upside. Now that trade off to the upside is in line with our bullish thought on the market, or our bullish indication on the market through our moving average. So that's how we could have played that bounce there. But since we're beyond that now, we'll just take a look and see where we are. We've got our moving averages all in order to the upside here. So we're going to really wait till we get pushes back towards the 50 or this yellow 100. So our 50s here in blue, our yellow 100 is here. So we didn't quite get it. We got a push down below the 21 here, and then, you know, we moved back on up to, you know, up above our 8 moving average here. So we're trading above that. As long as we're above the 8, our idea is that it's going to continue on to the upside, but it won't last forever. It's going to pull back at some point in time. So we'll be waiting on that. Right now, we would have already had to have been in the trade at some point where we were all of this time between the 19th and the 20th, where we spent time below our 200. We would have been dropping our order either on this 200, then our 100, and then our 50. Had we dropped it on any one of those, we'd be profitable right now, right? So that's a very, very easy trade that could have been made. We'll be keeping our eyes open for more of those this week. As far as the Aussie yen, you can see that we're trading here above our 720, because the 720 is kind of coming along over here along the bottom. All of our moving averages are still above our 720. We're not quite in order yet here, but the idea, the trade that we would have had would have been to buy, say, on this 50 or on the 100 or on this 200. Those would have been our buy points. As the moving averages move, we could have definitely improved them. Any one of them pretty much would have been profitable at this point. Pretty much almost anywhere we would have gotten in, because we traded below our 720, but most of the moving averages, or 3 out of 5 moving averages, were still above the 720. And so, you know, basically we would be buyers on the other side of the 720, you know, so as long as the rate has to commit to jumping back over the 720, we could be buyers, right? Now, if the rate's below, or the moving averages was below the 720, then we're not going to be buyers. That's going to change what we're going to do. But in this instance, because we jumped back over, we're fine being buyers, because our rate is above our 720. All the moving averages are above the 720, and we would have been able to buy into the trend to the upside as it resumes. As far as the Aussie New Zealand, we see our 720 way up top here. So it kind of, Aussie New Zealand kind of trades contrary to the other Aussie pairs. So typically it's going to trade the opposite direction. That's what we've been seeing. So, you know, that's typically not going to change. So what we're going to be waiting on here is pullbacks past our 50 and past our 100. Now you look at it, earlier, you know, in the trading day, we did trade almost to the 100 here. So our short would have been on our 50, and that would have given us a profitable trade up until now. So we're just waiting on pullbacks now. If you want to be more conservative, you wait till beyond the 100 or pretty close to 100, and then you can drop your order here on the 50. But everything is mature trend to the downside. All the moving averages, everything is in order to the downside. So our expectation is that the downtrend would continue. So we're going to watch that. Doesn't mean it's going to go in a straight line, but it does mean that it will continue. Now, the Aussie US, when we're looking at this, we see our 720 kind of here on the bottom here. We're trading well above our 720. The 200's well above the 720, and we're in order to the upside. Our rate's above our 8 moving average, so we're probably figuring this is going to continue the trend, right? And so this is on our Platinum Auto Trader. So this particular order that we're in here is based on the Platinum Auto Trader. Just automatically takes that trade to the upside, because it's looking at it saying, okay, so this trend should actually continue. So it's almost like a breakout trade that the Platinum Auto Trader does. I won't say it will always be a breakout that it's playing, because it'll play these moving averages when they're in order to the upside, but sometimes it will lend itself to being a breakout, kind of like here where we're breaking out above this level. We're pretty much headed towards this level that we saw in the past as well. So that's why we would buy there. But according to our strategy and what we're looking at, anytime we were here below our 200, once we passed our 50, our 100, and then we drop below this 200, we could be buyers on the 50 or the 100. Eventually, the 50 even dropped below the 200 here. We could have improved our order here back on the 19th, and we still would have been profitable. We could have bought into that trade. We'd still be profitable now. Any one of those moving averages that we bought on, we'd be profitable. So now we've got to wait for a pullback, because now we're in the, we're reaping the benefits of buying at that point in time. Now, as far as the CAD yen, you can see our 720s coming here across the top, right? All the moving averages are below the 720. So we've pulled back here. We pulled back to the 50, but not quite past it, right? So if we're going to be aggressive, we could place our order to short maybe here on this 21 moving average, sitting here at about 79.35. But typically I want to wait until till the rate jumps up above the 50 and then drop it on my 50, which is currently where the rate is right now, or at least the bid is at 79.38 right now. So 79.382 is where the offer's at. I'm sorry. That's where the offer's at right now, or the ask price. So, we'd want to short on that level if we get our bid, which is 79.36, above that level, or maybe above this 100. And then we drop our short here. So right now it's a little too close. We haven't gotten past the 50 too much. If you're using the 21, that's really your only play to short. As far as the Swiss yen, we have our 720 up here, right? We've got the the 200 well below our 720. Our moving averages were kind of in order. Our 21 and our 8 are not, so that's because we've got this pullback past the 100. So you can see where the rate has pulled back past the 100. We could have dropped our order to short here on the 100, or been a little bit more conservative and dropped it here on our 50. You can see I have a sell stop order here on the 50 itself. It's moved up just a little bit, so I'm going to take it and drag it up and just improve it just a little bit. It's not a lot, it's a couple of pips, but it's still improving the order for me here. So, so if it comes back down to this level, the bid comes back down to this level, I will be placed into that order, and the expectation is that it's going to continue to the downside. Now we've got this flatness across the bottom here. Let me go ahead and let me hide my tools here. Okay, great. I'm going to draw this line here. You see this red line that we've drawn here, and actually it corresponds to the line that is actually our offer price as well, or our ask price. You can see most of the movement in the pair is happening between these lines. We broke out just a little bit here, but other than that, we fell right back in, and we've been using this 113.80 area, 113.79 area as a support level. So we'll be looking to break that. If we come down and get placed into this order and we drop down here, we'll be looking to break out of this 113.79 area. But I'm going to keep track of it, because I realize that, has been kind of a support if we're not ready to break out yet. And the rate wants to go back. I'm not going to let my trade go negative just because I'm waiting on this move. I'll go ahead and take my profit, even if it's a few pips or whatever, and just get out if it bounces back towards my entry. So you don't have to sit there and wait through it. Maybe there's another trade that will come about. I'm just going to be aware that this support is here. around, what is it, 113.80 we said, right? So if we get into this order here, let's go ahead and click on it, see where it's at. The price 113.95, right? You can see where the price is at right here. I just double tapped basically with my laptop, or double click on the actual green line, and it'll bring up that order box and tell you information about that particular order. So it's telling me where it's at. So down here to 80. So there's about 15 pips from my order down to where we would be sitting as far as on support. That's about 15 pips. So as I see that happens, I'm going to try to lock in those pips, pretty quickly. If it comes down and gives me 10 pips, maybe I lock in 2, maybe 4 pips or whatever, and then just let it run. Um, if it runs down past this level, then then the trend is in, we're good. We can continue on down. But if not, then, and it wants to come back and hit my stop, so be it. I'm out of the trade. I'm just looking for the next one, right? Far as the Euro Aussie goes, we are bearish on this one too. Why? Because our 720 is way up here up top. We've got a lot of space between our 720 and our 200 here. Our 100 just jumped over the 200 and now it's beneath. All of our moving averages are in order to the downside, giving us a mature trend. We've got a little bit of a non-breakout kind of happening here. Like we came down here, we're testing this previous low. So we kind of went here, cruised around, came down to test it again. If this does not sustain itself, my idea is that this will trade off to the upside a little bit. And maybe we get another opportunity to improve our order. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens here. So if I was buying, I'd buy up here. Typically we're going to draw our box in here somewhere between the low. I like to see this roll over some more because it gives us a little more space to see. But maybe somewhere here, I'd be a buyer if I was looking to buy. Let's actually draw a rectangle there. Somewhere in here. Oops, I lost it there. Let me go back and grab it here. Shapes, rectangle. It's tough getting used to this other laptop that I'm using now, so it's so much better. Okay, let's draw right here. Okay, so this is kind of the area that I'd be looking at, maybe buying in, because I like to use the bottom of the candles that were kind of coming across the top. I like to use those as like my late entry point. Once we kind of pass that, that's like the last point to enter. And then if we don't break out below this level here, if we don't break below this level, I feel like, maybe here's my first entry, here's my latest entry, anywhere in between in that blue box I can get in. And then I feel like we trade off to the upside. Doesn't mean that the trend has changed. It just means that we're going to trade in a different direction for a little while. So that's what I'd be looking for. So we may still, and then once we do that, then I'm looking at, oh, okay, my moving averages are here. Are we passing our moving averages? If I'm coming back past my 50, past my 100, past the 200, then I can drop my order to short on those levels, right? Because I still want to trade with trend. This is going against trend a little bit. So that's going to be a shorter trade for me. My expectation is that it's not going to yield as many pips. Could yield a bunch. Like you can see here where we bounced all the way back to the 720. It could do the same exact thing. But my mindset is I'm more in tune to the trend more than anything. And I think the trend will resume itself. If it doesn't, fine. But my mindset says it should. So I'm going to be protective of this particular trade. It's not a trade that I'm going to let go back super negative against me, not in the direction of trend. We don't want that because the trend is where the momentum's really going to be. It's just another play for you. If you don't see anything else, if you want to, trade something different, that's our breakout bounce strategy. Far as our Euro CAD goes, we're trading here along, trading well above our 720. Our 720 is kind of setting a little bit of a support here. We can see where we touched the 720 here, it rejected here, and here. We've kind of rejected off of the 720. So that tells me, I think that we have potential to the upside, but it's just been bouncing a little bit. It's been bouncing up, coming down, bouncing up, coming down. It's just been bouncing the whole way. So my idea here is that at some point, it's probably going to bounce down here again below our 200 maybe. And then we'd have an opportunity to buy on, say, the 200, the 50, or the 100. So, I wouldn't buy on this 720. That's just our, not in this particular strategy. That's not the strategy. But, if it comes down and breaks below the 720, then I'd be looking up higher. I'd be looking for the rate to commit to a move beyond the 720 to the upside and then continue on up. As far as our Euro Swiss, we can see where our 720 is here, just kind of coming across the bottom here. Quite a bit of separation between that and our 200. You can see that this one is just kind of all over the place too. It always is jumping down here below our 200. So it's not too hard for us to grab some pips from this one. As it jumps down below our 200, we set up our order. Here, even the 50 jumped below the 200. So we could have bought on the 50 here, right? Here, we jump below the 200 here. Almost immediately, within a couple hours, an hour and a half or so, we're already in the positive side, and then boom, we got this nice run up. Here we go again. We got another one here. We broke down below the 200. We could have bought on the 200 again, and now we'd be profitable again. So this presents itself multiple times. Those two trades happened in the same day. Could have been really a third one here too, because we had another move down below this 200 here as well. So this has been very, very quite, volatile. It's definitely been very, very volatile, but it's been giving us enough movement where we can pick off some decent pips from it. That's the Euro Swiss. Euro Pound, we can see that we're trading below our 720. Here's our 720 going across the top here. Our moving averages are all in order to the downside: 200, 100, 50, 21, 8. So that's telling us we have mature trend to the downside, and all we're really waiting is for a pullback past this 200 or past the 50 or the 100 or the 50. We're just looking for these pullbacks. We got pullbacks past the 200 here. We stayed that way for a better part of a day. Just from the 19th through the 20th, we're up here above our 200. So we had ample time to actually drop this order down on the 200 or on the 50 coming across here, or the 100 coming across here. Either one of these moving averages we could have dropped it on, right? And any of them would have been profitable at this point. As far as the Euro Yen, we have our rate trading below our 720 here, right? We've got our 200 kind of close there. It just jumped below the 720 back on the 19th. So it's only been there a couple of days so far, a couple of trading days. So this is a newer trend to the downside that's developing. So you can see I've got a sell stop order here on the 50 for this Euro Yen, kind of the same place where we had it in with the Swiss Yen, kind of the same thing. So we will short here if on the 50, if the rate drops back below this 100 and travels on down to the 50. So our expectation is the momentum will be to the downside. As far as the Euro US, you can see that we're trading well above our 720. And there's a lot of space between the 720 and the 200. We actually did trade below the 200 as late as today. And so we could have bought here on our 100 or on this 50 in blue. Any one of those trades would have been profitable for us, right? Even if we dropped it on the 200, any one of those trades would have been profitable within hours, right? As far as the pound Aussie, you can see our 720 kind of coming across here. You can see our rate kind of sticking right around this 720 right now. Our 200 is below the 720. The 100 just kind of jumped over. It's been kind of hugging the 720 a little bit here. So we're looking at an upward move, a bullish move, but we're going to wait until this kind of widens out a little bit. We want these moving averages to kind of straighten out and widen out. Maybe this 200 actually jump over our 720 to really feel like we're moving to the upside here. I don't want to short because my moving averages, the 50, my 100, are above the 720 now, along with the rate. So most of the moving averages are above except our 200. We're just out of range here. We're just not in order here on the pound Aussie. So I'm not going to really take that as a trade just yet. As far as the pound CAD, we can see where we are trading above, rate is above our 720. Our 200, 150, 21, and 8 are all in order to the upside, giving us a mature trend. So we're just kind of pulling away a little bit, adding a little bit of separation here. It's not going to go up in a straight line. Our expectation is that it's going to pull down here and maybe drop maybe at least to our 50, maybe down to our 100 and give us an opportunity to buy again. So that's what we'll kind of be waiting for the pound CAD. Now, as far as the pound Swiss, we are looking at a trade above, we're looking at a bullish trade because we're above our 720. Our moving averages are all above the 720 here. Rate is above our 8 though. So we're going to be waiting for it to pull back on us. Go ahead and pull back to our 50 or 100, and then we can be a buyer here. As far as our pound yen, we are trading above our 720. We can see the moving averages are not quite in trend yet. We still need the 100 to jump over our 200 in order for it to be a mature trend. But the rate is pushed up quite a bit here. So we're going to have to wait until, it'll have to probably continue to push up for this 100 to actually jump over. So I think there should be some room to the upside here. And if we get that 100 over the 200, then I'd be looking for whatever pullbacks we have towards the 50 and the 100 as we continue on. As far as the pound US, we have the rate well above our 720. You see our 720s down here, our 200s way up here. So we've got a lot of space between the two. The moving averages are all in order to the upside. So we have mature trends. So we'll be waiting on this pullback of the rate to maybe our 50 or our 100. So right now we've been getting a couple pushes back to the 100, but this one would have been really, really quick. I don't know if we would have been able to stick it on there. We would have actually caught it in time to place our order here on the 50. But it did happen. We did get a pullback to the 100. So it was there for a little bit of time. Each of these candles are worth 30 minutes. So just the possibility of that, right? Let's look at the New Zealand CAD. As far as the New Zealand CAD goes, you see our 720 just kind of peeking out of the bottom here. It's kind of on its trajectory up, but there's a lot of space between that and our 720 and our 200 have a lot of space between them. All the moving averages are in order to the upside. We did get a little bit of a pullback to our 50 here, but not quite a lot. We could have placed an order here on the 21 if we're a little more aggressive with it. But we really are going to be waiting on pullbacks, maybe a deeper pullback past the 50 or the 100. New Zealand Swiss, we will see that our 720 is down here underneath. Like all the New Zealands are pretty much above the 720 right now. And so the moving averages are all in order to the upside and a mature trend. We can see that we did get a pullback here to the 100. So we could have dropped our order to buy on this 50 and we would have been profitable within at least an hour and a half because this is 30 minutes. This is 30 minutes. That's an hour, 30 minutes more. And we would have been profitable and quite profitable. Like it didn't even like hang out and stop on the 50. It just kept on going here. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles right in a row. So we got that momentum to the upside. And that's what we kind of talk about when we're waiting on these pullbacks. It's there. So we would have went into the trade here and then boom, within just a couple of hours, we're doing quite well on our trade. So it's not that difficult to pull pips in the market. It's really not. It's just understanding all of the pieces that kind of go together and just seeing the pattern and being willing to take a small amount for the trade that you're looking for. Take a small amount of pips. You don't need hundreds and hundreds of pips. You don't need it to be this huge trade. You just need to get your pips and get out. That's what we're shooting for. I don't know why my camera's popping down here, but all right, great. So as far as the New Zealand yen, same thing. We're trading above our 720. There it is down at the bottom. You can see all the moving averages are in order to the upside. We did at the end of the day, Friday, basically going into today, we did drop down here below our moving averages, our 50, our 100, and our 200. we did trade down here below the 200, and immediately we were, going back through the moving averages, and then we have this profitable trade going on. We even broke out a little bit above this top, this recent top. So um, so our expectation now is that it continues on. This continues to the upside. If it pulls back past the 50 or the 100, then we're interested in buying again, right? As far as the New Zealand US, same exact story. Our 720s way down here. We've got all our moving averages to the upside, creating a mature trend for us. And with this mature trend, it's been in for quite a while. It's been in since about the 13th or the 16th of the month. It's been there for a few days now. So we're just headed on up, just kind of slowly headed along. We did get a nice pullback here. That would have gave us the opportunity to buy into the current move up that actually created a breakout of that previous high level as well. So we're getting a few pullbacks here. We got one here, pulled back all the way to the 100. And now if we had placed our order here on the 50, then we would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles right in a row that were profitable. So like we say, it's not always going to go in a straight line like that, but there are going to be times when the momentum is going to be there, and placing our order on that moving average is going to be a great place to just figure out, how to get our pips in our pockets. Here is the US dollar CAD. You can see that we're trading below our 720. We did trade above our 200 here recently. So here's our 200 in orange coming across here. So we could have placed our order here on the 200, on this 50, on this 100, on this or the 100, and then also on the 50. Any one of those trades would have been profitable for us right now, right? So we have this sell that's going on here from our titanium FX trade. So titanium actually created this order for us. So this is one that we're waiting on. So our expectation is that we continue to the downside here, right? US dollar Swiss, we are trading below our 720, not super far away. There's not a lot of distance. That's why I kind of talk about it in the other ones, because you see a lot of distance in like the New Zealand pairs, but this pair, like this US dollar Swiss, you don't see a lot of distance just yet. So this is a young, mature trend. All the moving averages are in order to the downside. It's very young. We want to see this develop even more. So it may take a little more development, but we'll be waiting for, waiting for pullbacks past our 50 or past our 100, right? If we get that, then our expectation is that we're going to move to the downside. We did get it here. We traded actually above the 720 twice. Here's one. We traded above the 720. Had we dropped our order here on this 200, it committed to the downside move, and then it dropped in, gave us a nice, few pips there. We got the same move right back again past the 720. If we dropped it again on this 200, we would have got another trade to the downside on the same day. It happened twice on the same day, right? So, this opportunity does exist. A lot of times it's going to show us more than once. As far as the US dollar yen, we're trading well below our 720. This one's got a lot of separation because we've got this trend that's in, this mature trend that's been in for some days now. It started on the 17th, but we're trending down. We've got a little bit of a floor going here right around the current level where we're at, 103.75 area or so. We've got a little bit of a floor, a little bit of support going there, maybe even just a little bit lower, maybe around the 70 mark. But we've got mature trend to the downside, right? So we can actually, wait on pullbacks. We've got a couple of them that kind of, almost went to the 100. We could have shorted on this 50. If not, then right now we're just waiting for that pullback to occur again, and then we can short. Now we'll be mindful of this floor that we've got going here, this little bit of support area that we've got going around the 70s. But if we break that, we probably go to the 50, 103.50 or so. That's, the next, heavy psychological level. So there's opportunity there. So that's, that would be the play for us. So that's kind of how things are shaping up so far for the week. There's definitely some opportunities there. We are trading in direction of trend. Looks pretty good to me. Looks like the setups are going to be all right here. So let's be alert this week and see what we can do. So We're going to go ahead and get out of here right now. I'm glad that you guys were able to attend the show. Hopefully you got some great ideas of what might be coming this week and what might provide some opportunity for you. And we'll be here again in the morning for the daily market overview show so that we can go over the fundamental news as well and see what's going to drive our markets. I think there's quite a bit of fundamental news on the docket. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Once again, this is Derek with iLi Academy. I hope that you have a great week of trading. So let's see what the opportunities are and let's get it. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.